perfect mess is my perfect mess. Perfect mess is my perfect mess.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. This is episode 18, and I'm your host, Ray Molina. Now, if you're listening, you're probably hearing a different quality in the sound, and you're probably wondering what's going on. If you're watching on YouTube, you see me walking down the street. So things are a little different right now for me. So today got interesting. Well, last night did, and carried over to today. And you know what? I just decided to embrace the suck. If you've never heard that term, then you're probably not familiar with David Goggins, but he lives his life by embracing everything, all the struggles, all the things that he may be going through, and saying, you know what? This really sucks right now, but it's all good. I'm going to power through, no matter how hard it gets. And he basically calls it, or says, to embrace the suck. And so basically that's what I'm doing. So I decided to do a little something different, and this inspired me, believe it or not. The issue I'm going through right now inspired me to start something because of what I'm going through. And I think I'm going to start doing something called On the Go. And that's basically doing the podcast on the spur of the moment when I feel like I need to say something when I'm not in the studio. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that. I decided to do that on the side of the freeway. So I felt like I started having some transmission issues last night in my car. My car was slipping a little bit. And so I made it home safely. And then this morning, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to check the transmission fluid, see if I'm out of transmission fluid or if I'm low. Try that first, drive it around, see how it works. Come to find out on my car, like all these new cars, they're all designed a certain way, and they're not like back in the day when I was younger and you could just pop the hood open, take a dipstick out and put some fluid in it, right? Well, this car apparently doesn't have a dipstick, and you have to lift the car up, go underneath the engine and do all this work, and yeah, I just couldn't do that. So I took my chances, said I'm gonna get it to my mechanic, got in the car, made it probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away, and got stuck on the side of the freeway. Transmission said it was getting too hot, so said to pull over, and then my car said give it 5 minutes. Gave it 10 minutes actually. Started it up again, was able to drive the other 4 or 5 miles to get to my mechanic slowly with the hazards on, and got it there. So now it's a weight game. It's to find out what they're gonna hit me for. And you guys know, who have cars and who've ever dealt with transmissions, it's never a kind price. You know what I mean? So that's my dilemma today. But hey, I've learned to not be upset and to understand that God always has a plan, and this is the way things work out, and to embrace the suck. And it's funny because I used to get really upset about stuff like this, and I used to cuss up and down, just angry, just pissed off. And I don't do that anymore, man. Hey, man, this is what it is. You know why? Because I have faith now, because I've been through so much stuff that God has gotten me through. Something like this, yeah, it's going to cost me some money, but you know what? I make more money. And then next thing pops up, pay for that, and go make more money. It just is what it is. That's life. But the beautiful thing that came from this was the idea to do something called On the Go. I've always had a big issue that I have with my podcast is I'm not always able to hurry up and set up in the studio and to get the best audio and to shoot the video and whatnot. And I'm always like, damn, I got to get back so I can shoot a podcast. And you know what? the way my life is, it's always going, man. So I'm just going to start, when I am at the studio and I can record a podcast in the studio with the mic, I'm going to do it. But when I'm on the road, I'm not going to let an idea that I have pass me by because I'm not in the studio. So, hey, some episodes you're going to see like this and some you're going to see in the studio. So moving forward, basically, here's what we're going to touch on today. Today is election day, all right? I think we all know that things have been so crazy in America with the election and things that are going on and the division in our country and which candidate are you going to pick, which one's least racist, which one's said the most hurtful stuff, which one has the worst memory, which one is lying to us. We've all dealt with it, and we've all got our opinions on, who we think is going to be the best candidate to do the job. My question I pose to you is this, all right? And I'm going to make this podcast short. How many of you are going to lose friends, family, and loved ones after tonight? How many of you are going to argue and be upset and end friendships and relationships with loved ones because a president or a presidential candidate that you voted for didn't win, or because the one you didn't want to win and hate won, and that was somebody that your family voted for? That was someone your friend voted for. How many of you are going to get into arguments tonight or tomorrow because some man who really doesn't give a damn about you won office and you're upset about it? How many of us are going to do that? How many of us are going to be upset about that? I ask you guys this question because I've watched so many of us online get into arguments with friends, family, loved ones. I've refused to do that, to be honest. I've refused to do that on my social media, and I refuse to do it offline. I just won't do it. But it's not that I haven't been, engaged. Someone tried to, that anybody in my family or my friends haven't tried to engage me into an argument or a debate. They have. But I've decided early on in this situation, because I knew how sticky it was, that I was going to decide, I'm not going to let this divide me. I'm not going to let this control me. I'm not going to let some man who doesn't make or break me end my relationship with my friends or end my love for a family member because we don't agree politically. I made that decision because at the end of the day, here's the thing. You have to be smart enough to know or to realize that no matter who wins tonight, as long as you take care of your home, as long as you take care of your responsibilities, as long as you wake up every day and you go to work, or you take care of what you're supposed to take care of so you and your family survive, pay your bills, work hard, hold on to your faith, be a good person, do all the things that you've been doing, you're going to be fine. I know a lot of people are like, Ray, you said pay bills, but that's the problem. There's a lot of people out of work that are struggling to pay bills. I get it. I know. Listen, I just told you right now, if I don't know, you got to be crazy. I'm videotaping this podcast and recording it while I'm walking on the side of the road right now. All right? I'm about to get hit for probably close to $2,000 to get my transmission fixed. Trust me, I know. All right? I've been doing math in my head all morning, thinking if this transmission goes bad, how am I going to pay for it? What am I going to do? And you know what? I leave that up to God. But what I'm telling you is this. As long as you take care of all those things, it does not matter who wins office, all right? It doesn't. It's not worth ending a friendship. It's not worth destroying a relationship with your loved one. It isn't worth it. It's politics. You got to learn that at the end of the day, whoever's in that office shouldn't make or break you. Okay? If you're a big-time business owner, I get it. You know, if so-and-so wins, you're going to get taxed more. Okay. I don't know too many people that make as much money as the people that should be fearing getting taxed that high. I don't know any people like that. I maybe know one or two people that should worry about that. But the majority of people aren't going to have to deal with that. And then all the other stuff that, you keep hearing about, basic human rights are going to be in jeopardy and whatnot. Come on, man. That's the same talk that we hear every 4 years from every candidate that we should be fearful of. This goes back to me telling you guys that politicians play on your fear. They play on stuff that they know is going to get you scared, get you nervous, and make you very uneasy, which is why you see people being upset, ending friendships, ending relationships, and then going to the streets and acting out and destroying the city and the home that they love. We got to be smarter than that. We got to be better than that. We do. Listen, there isn't a president that's ever been in office that I've ever agreed with 100%. Never. And I don't think anybody listening or watching this has ever agreed with one candidate 100%. There isn't. Okay? It's just not happened. And the other thing is this. Nothing has changed for me when that face in that office has changed. Okay? Yeah, there's some great things that go on, and there's some things I don't agree about, with candidates. But for the most part, as long as I took care of my business, I've been fine. I was able to financially make it, and I was able to survive. And you got to slow down and just think about that. If I didn't vote for Obama, did my life really change? Was I in the dump? Nah, I was good. That's right, Ray's right. I am right. Because let me tell you, that's how I felt. I'll be honest with you. When Clinton was there, I was like 100% Bill Clinton. Boom, boom, boom. And then I started to waver on that guy. I'm like, I don't know. Then Bush came in. I hated Bush. Hold on, I got trucks riding by right now. But I hated Bush, and hate's a strong word. I don't use that word too much these days. But I didn't like him. I wasn't a fan of his policies, and I just wasn't a big fan of everything that we were doing, going to war and whatnot. But you know what? I made it through those years, made money, lived well, and did my thing. Nothing changed. Same thing with Obama, same thing with Clinton, same thing with Bush, and to be honest with you, same thing with Trump. All right? Please understand that it does not matter who is in that office, okay? You want to be concerned about something, your concern should be more about your local elections. It should be more about who you're putting in office in your area of where you live, because that is where you'll feel the impact, okay? That's where you'll feel the impact of the things that you vote for, because they're in your immediate circle. They're in your immediate surroundings. They affect your schools. They affect where your tax dollars get paid. They affect everything. The laws of where your money goes for housing, all that stuff. That's where you really get affected. It's not the presidential area. The president, a lot of people seem to think the president just has this magic wand. He can fix things or he can destroy things whenever he wants, and that's not the case. It's just not. If that was the case, President Trump would have shut Gavin Newsom down a long time ago and just opened everything up in California. But the fact of the matter is he can't do that, okay? He needs permission to do that. So please, understand what I'm telling you. no matter where this goes election-wise, please come from a place of love. Love your friends, love your family. Be man or woman enough to say, look, I love you, man. I'm not going to argue with you. We may not agree, but I'm not going to let this politician ruin my relationship with you. I love you. I don't want to talk about this. I love you. Maybe we shouldn't talk until after this whole thing is over. But just come from a place of love and understand that these politicians, at the end of the day, they don't know who you are, and they honestly don't give a damn about you, okay? It's politics. It's politics. It's always a tough thing to talk about when you talk about politics. It's the same thing with religion. People are very passionate about both of those things. That's why it's always very touch and go when it comes to speaking about both of those things. And for my youngsters that are listening right now, I hear you. And I love the term that you guys were pushing this year. You fucked with the last generation. I love that. I love that line. And I love your fire and I love your passion. Okay? But please, for any of you guys who listen to my podcast, I know my demographic on this podcast because I've checked. There's not a whole lot of young kids that listen to what I'm saying on this podcast. My demographic is late 20s, 30s, and 40s is the predominant. But for any of you youngsters who are angry or get upset because the candidate you didn't want to won, think before you get out there and start destroying your city. Think before you take up arms with your friends and start going out there to confront the police or destroy government buildings and act crazy. Think about that. And keep in mind this one thing. You have a voice, okay? You have a voice. Understand that in these other countries, people don't have the voice we have here, all right? And the stuff that we are able to do here when it comes to politics, people get killed for, people get murdered for, people go to prison for life for. Burning the flag, talking about the president, talking down about the president, talking down about the government, going out and protesting and burning buildings and doing all those things. In other governments and other countries, they kill people for that. You are punished by death. You have a voice here. And yeah, maybe if tonight, at the end of this whole thing, if your candidate doesn't win, maybe you're upset. And that's okay. I know, man, I was fiery as fuck when I was young, man. I was fiery shit. I marched for Prop 209 over in Cal Berkeley back in, back in 90, I want to say 97, 98, something like that. No, 90, 99? Something like that, 97, 98. It was crazy. But that was the first protest I was part of, and I was so fired up about it. I was passionate about it. Because I wanted minorities to have the same right to go to college and have those opportunities and whatnot. I understand where you're coming from. But the one thing we didn't do was destroy our city. We didn't destroy the campus. We didn't destroy government buildings. We didn't destroy anything. We made sure our voice was heard, and when the news came, we said our piece. And when it was done, it was done. Please think before you step out into those streets to destroy this city because you're not happy. Think about that. Okay? The fight doesn't stop once the president changed. You still have a voice. You can still start changing things locally. Think about that. Every 2 years or so, you have the opportunity to vote other people into your council locally. Don't forget that, okay? There's so many different ways and so many other fights that you can take on to help change your local community. Don't fall victim to the narrative of this country is divided, it's black, white, It's Trump versus Biden. It's blue versus red. It's, you hear what I'm saying? It's all cops are bad. Everybody is divided. Don't fall for that. We're better than that. You're better than that. Think before you make a move. All right? Understand there's going to be a lot of emotion tonight. Hell, man, there's been a lot of emotion all year. Look at everything we've been dealing with this whole year. Look at everything we've been struggling with. This virus, the financial implications that have been going on, the mental, the divorce, the everything, the physical abuse. I mean, you name it, man. Everything that we've been dealing with. And everybody's just trying to get to the end of the year in hopes that this whole thing is going to let up. I told a family member of mine that, and a few friends of mine, that I feared that November was going to be the worst month of this whole pandemic. And he said, why? And I said, because we've been locked down since March, and trying to get life back to normal has been the hardest thing. And now we've got to deal with the election and all of the anger and the passion and the emotion that's tied into the election. And I said, and it doesn't really matter which way the election goes. There's going to be anger on both sides. It doesn't matter who wins. There's going to be anger, and there's going to be unrest. There's going to be a lot of some people don't know how to deal with their anger. Some people don't know how to channel their anger, so they act out. I said, and I fear that we've just seen the tip of the iceberg, and going into October after this election, it's going to get worse. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that everybody stays calm tonight, and I pray that maybe this hits home for some of you guys. Please, don't lose your friendships. Don't lose loved ones because some politicians are dividing all of us, because some politicians don't see the world the way we see it, and because some politicians have been putting billions of dollars behind their initiative and convincing all of us by propaganda on social media and in the streets and everywhere we go on TV. They've been putting billions of dollars behind that to sway us one way or another. Please, don't fall victim to that, okay? I have my opinions about the election. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm very open about that, okay? But never once have I told anybody, you're not my friend anymore. I don't want to talk to you no more. I don't want to see you no more. I've never said that to anybody at all. There isn't a person on Instagram that has messaged me and that I've had a debate with on my DM, or anybody who's called or emailed me that I've had a debate with and that I've told them, I don't want to be your friend or I don't want you around my family anymore. Not one of them. Because at the end of the day, these politicians aren't going to make and break me. You take care of your home, keep your side of the street in order, go to work every day, continue to work and provide for your family. And if you don't have a family, take care of yourself, stay healthy, make sure that your home is in line, and you're going to be fine. We always power through, always. That's what we do in America. We power through, we find a way. We don't fail, man. And if we fail and we fall, we stumble, we get back up, dust ourselves off, and we keep going. That's what we do in this country. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Middle East, whatever you want, whatever it is, we all power through. Because that's just what this country is about. All right? And just because you love America and you're proud doesn't make you a sellout, doesn't make you a racist, doesn't make you a traitor, Doesn't make you a coon, doesn't make you an Uncle Tom, doesn't make you any of those things. And it doesn't make you a coconut. Yeah, I've had someone try to throw that one my way. It's okay to be proud of where you're from. It's okay to be proud of your country. And it's okay to be proud of wherever your family's from. But don't lose sight of the fact that we are all Americans and we should all be pulling in the same direction. And I know right now it doesn't feel like that. But when this is over, let's get back to that. All right? That's about it for me, man. I'm gonna wrap this up, man. This has been an interesting way to shoot a podcast, but hey, spur of the moment, get it done. I love you guys, man. I hope you guys are safe tonight. Think before you say stuff to people you love, and think before you get out in them streets and tear up the block because you're angry about something. All right? Be safe. Again, this is Ray Molina. I'm your host, and this is the Perfect Mess Podcast, and this is episode 18. Peace.
Perfect mess is my perfect mess. Perfect